Okay, and our last talk is by Courtney Corley. This is taken from his Twitter profile, so. I am passionately curious about the intersection between social media and health security. Work at PNNL, teach at WSU, study at WU. Maybe you can tell us what those are.
It means that I'm crazy and I go to too many schools. So I'm really glad to be here, and thank you, John, and everybody for organizing this. It's been wonderful, and it's so cool. I get to see so many people that I've read your paper. Oh, I read your paper, and so it's really neat. So these are the people involved with this project. Dr. Myers, who is a doctor, who's been a great resource to the pro-vaccine community. And I'll talk about that in a second. So I'm a research scientist at Pacific Northwest National Lab, and had Stuart and Shy. Stuart is shy, so that's why he's not up there. And it was funded by ISDS and the Seeley Center for Vaccine Development, so thank you very much for that. Oh, and then this picture right here, that's after 60 miles on a 3-day walk, so that's why I have glasses. Well, you can't really tell, but I am really tired and very happy. So what is the motivation for this? So immunization safety beliefs. Search engines identify topics and they're statistically related, so one can find anything on the internet, and your chance of finding accurate information is just as true as finding misinformation, right? So one of the things that we have in social media is that people express themselves and express their opinions, and we've talked about it, and my other panelists have alluded to this. So it leads to the research question, can we understand these social media conversations in order to explore if we can identify emerging concerns about vaccine safety in near real time, and then develop the strategies to address those concerns. So this is a description of a work in progress, and we've done the first part. So can we identify concerns in social media? And yes, we can. So how do we do this? It's a little bit different approach. We do something called visual analytics. So the reason why we do this is because we have, and the data source that we use for 3 months, we have 6 billion tweets, 300 million, Facebook posts that we have, and all this other stuff. So how do we find what's important about it? We had subject matter experts go and do the keywords, go to the vaccine components, find out what to search for. Go to the, they have a web page that you can go and you can find out all the components of all the vaccines. And so we went and did that. But why visual analytics? Because it helps identify related threads and intersection of topics. We can identify the backstory, and then we can quantify the convergence of data on that topic or event. So this is an example of, you think of it as a heat map for discussions about flu. And this is going to be from September of last year. So we try to stick to English, however, sometimes we get some drift in there. So something like this helps us to identify what's noise, what's not noise, a little bit easier. So what I want to talk about next is just some of the things we found, because our hypothesis is, do people even ask questions online about vaccine safety? And the answer is yes, they do. So we have an algorithm, we call it surprise. So surprising tweets, it uses word co-occurrence, temporal trends, and other signatures to help us identify things that may only occur within a certain window within your corpus of text, right? So how do you feel about the HPV vaccine? I was offered it today, but I'm unsure. And my graduate work was looking at HPV, right? So what do people think about this vaccine? And it was very interesting, some of the things we found. And so Michelle Bachmann was quite in the news with her statements about girls becoming mentally retarded from HPV, which is just insane. And luckily, the health community is beginning to get their pulse on these things and responded immediately with the American Association of Pediatrics, IDSA. Many people in the CDC, I'm sure, put out these press statements immediately espousing them. Again, so I cut my finger, do I need a tetanus shot? These are all questions that people ask. And there is accurate information out there. So look, somebody posted a link to the CDC website for information. So it is out there. It's kind of like Fox Mulder and X-Files, something's out there. But there's a whole lot of surprising bad information, right? So What we have is one of my favorite stories that we found. So Shai is actually a vaccine antagonist. She does not believe in vaccines, our research student. And so she goes back and forth on this project, and she finds all this information for us. And so one of the interesting ones is the U.S. government is putting RFID chips in vaccines to track you. And there's like a picture of this like micro-sized RFID chip produced by Hitachi, right? And it's just fascinating. It's like, what are you thinking? But it's out there, and so these are things that the CDC is not going to worry about, right? They're not big yet. However, your local physician is going to want to know that, and your pediatrician is going to want to know that so they can educate the parents about things that are not true. So, there's all these different scams. So on the right here is our version of sentiment analysis, and they are, a graphical depiction of different words that co-occur in our corpus. So it helps us kind of locate where they are. And I'll finish up with a global perspective. So we looked at the U.S. mainly, but now we can also look globally, and we can ask, what can we understand about global health from these? And the last one, there's 2 measles cases in Minnesota, but it was linked to Kenya. So that was interesting. And how we found these was by our surprise algorithm. And we see on the left there, this is a chart through time. So we have our frequency of posts. The green right there means during a certain time period. The circles represent where a surprising story occurs, and that means it was not found previously in the same magnitude that it is currently within that window. And the smaller yellow circles, which are kind of hard to see, means like secondary surprise scores. So on the left are terms, so we do word co-occurrences and statistical associations to pull those out. You'll see some really long letters there. It's because our IRB process, they're anonymized. So these are people, places, things, something up there that we don't know what they are, but they were really important. And then also the CIA was the first one in there because of there's something in the news about they used a vaccine campaign to get DNA information. So that was, it was, relatively important. So, these are things that we're interested in. How can we use visual analytics? How can we use big data techniques to understand this? Because the small social theory type of practices are really difficult to apply to data whenever you have 6 billion tweets. And that's only a 10% sample over a 3-month window, right? So we have a decahose, and that means that we have 10% of Twitter, and then 3 months is only that. So and it's only growing. It's like 300 million a day right now. It's going to keep growing, and then it's going to be the next thing. It's not going to be Twitter. It's going to be something else. So what this is on the right, this is called a theme flow visualization, and this is just another way to look at the data, and we can see that there are statistically associated word associations, themes, and you can't read what they are. That's okay. And then through time, during different periods, they go up and down, and of course the one up top is Michelle Bachmann, an HPV vaccine. So, all right, thank you.